Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeff Bishop. I work at the University of Arizona as an IT accessibility consultant, and I have a friend here with me from the American Printing House of the Blind, Ken Perry. Ken, you want to introduce yourself?
My name, like you said, is Ken Perry. I'm a senior software engineer at the American Printing House. I also teach online, volunteer, or pay in some cases, and I do a lot of open source stuff. And that's how the volunteer teaching stuff is how I met Jeff.
That's great. Now, we do have a PowerPoint deck. We're probably going to use it pretty loosely today. Both Ken and I tend to not necessarily be real heavy PowerPoint users, but all the slides are available on the website as well. But today we're here to talk about teaching blind and visually impaired students Python with an emphasis centered around data science. So I'm moving to slide 2. So we're going to be talking here about the work that we did along with a nonprofit organization by the name of Blind Information Technology Specialists. And you can learn more about them at bits-acb.org. I'll give that link out again later. We're going to start really by emphasizing the challenges that exist in teaching computer science and especially data science concepts to blind and visually impaired students, both from an instructor perspective and from a student perspective. And we're going to talk about how we came up with an accessible and inclusive curriculum for teaching students. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Python training course that we put together. And then we're going to transition all of you over to Ken, who's going to talk about the work that we did, or that he did, and I was actually a participant in, a data science course over the summer, where we actually utilized the Mater library, and you'll hear more about that coming up, in teaching very visual-oriented concepts to blind and low vision students, and the use of technology, including the use of artificial intelligence, to be able to accommodate students and being able to understand the visual nature of the material that was being presented, as well as creating it. And Ken will give you a demonstration of that. I'm moving to slide 3. So again, we already introduced ourselves, so we'll go to slide 4 here. Challenges in accessibility. You know, I am blind myself, and when I studied computer science in college, it was one of these situations where when I was taught these concepts, we did not necessarily teach them, well, at least I was not taught them from a visual perspective. It was a lot of hands-on work. That's not the way that, in general, this curriculum is taught today. It's taught in a very visual-oriented fashion that includes higher math as well. So this is becoming more and more of a problem. Not to mention the tools and technologies that are utilized as part of that process tend to be somewhat challenging because they tend to use either platforms that are not necessarily accessible, or they're highly visual, you know, drag and drop and lots of things that might make that more challenging. It just really creates a situation that does not allow for someone to necessarily succeed. We often hear about blind and visually impaired students changing their majors away from STEM-oriented fields just because of these types of challenges. So there's really a lack of accessible options, and when there are accessible options, they tend to not coincide with the curriculum that's being taught in the classroom as well. Also, there's not as many, sadly, people who are blind or low vision who are actually in STEM fields, and this is something that I would love to see changed. So we needed to come up with a way of teaching students these concepts and coming up with tools and technology that was inclusive and innovative to allow students to succeed. And we thought, well, how could we do this in a way that allowed for students to succeed, but also utilize mainstream products and services to be able to accomplish the goal? So I'm the president of BITS, Blind Information Technology Specialist, and this was a scenario that really the organization wanted to try to solve, because people wanted to be creators, right? I used to work at Microsoft as a product manager, and you know, it's a wonderful thing to be able to create things with your own voice and your own talent. And blind people want to have that same ability as well. So we put together, with a lot of partnering, a Python course, which lasted, what, Ken, from February until
April
what, end
Fool.
of June? End of
Yeah, April
June. Yeah.
Fools.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
yeah, no, that's
we
right.
started in February because we taught
That's right.
student, yeah, we taught students the basics of Windows and taught them the terminal, and we taught them how to use the command line, right? Because we didn't want to have anybody start just, at any disadvantage. And then we started actual Python training in April and took it all the way through the end of
End of
June.
June. That's right.
And we had about 140 students in the course, of which I think about 90 of them completed the course, which really is not bad when you think about people who are attending what I would consider to be almost college level type course. We moved rather quickly in this curriculum. The beautiful nature of this is that we utilized standard tools and technology, but we wrote and used curriculum that was fully accessible. So we used Visual Studio Code, we used GitHub for storing and turning in homework assignments and retrieving assignments and recording classroom recordings. We used the command line and Git to be able to submit those assignments, and use the terminal to be able to do things that we may needed to do from that perspective as well. So it was very, very, very exciting. We could not have done it without the partnership of Bookshare. We partnered with Bookshare along with the National Library Service and Perkins to be able to facilitate free material and free educational resources to students so that they didn't have to worry about funding the things that they did. And we taught everybody from Hello World all the way through object-oriented, at least the basics of object-oriented programming, and had some pretty large assignments that were put together by Ken to be able to achieve that result. So later that summer, this summer, there was an opportunity for students to participate in a data science course. And this was an opportunity that was given to students to be able to elevate their understanding of data science, charts and graphs, and put these Python concepts to practice in being able to come up with really awesome and accessible solutions as it relates to graphing and charting and data science, just like anybody else would in a college curriculum. And so I'm going to turn this over to Ken, and then we'll come back and we have some asks of each of you to be thinking about as we move forward. Ken?
So I'm going to kind of take you through a quick building of a bar chart, because some things we do when we're teaching is as professors and even simple teachers like me, we have to make representations of large data sets and stuff. And this is where a lot of time the accessibility kind of falls down, because if I make a figure, a bar chart, it doesn't come out accessibly. So since I have a little more than 5 minutes, I think I can play with. I'm gonna show you an inaccessible version and then quickly make it accessible. But I'm going to do this all from start to finish as a project, and I'm going to do it hopefully in less than 5 minutes. So we'll see how this goes. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see, sound, stereo. And now I'm
Selected
my,
viewing menus, screen sharing meeting controls.
my screen
Started screen share.
down
Fix this
because
with me.
you're going to have to hear some of this. So let's do.
Slower, 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 slower. PC. Slower.
Okay, so I'm going to move over, and this is just going to be a quick little example.
Launch meeting. PowerShell 7. Left enter. PSC : alt spit.
Let me know, moderator, if they can't see the command line or if something covers things up. Okay.
Enter.
What
Enter.
I've got
PSC
here
:
is I'm just going to do a quick file listing.
ls dash.
And so you can see I don't have anything.
Enter. Airlines.csv. Prompt.txt.
So I have an airlines.csv. That is a file I downloaded from Kaggle. It's a data site that a lot of people use for machine language, just for data sets, and they use this in college and just about everywhere. So I just got the airline CSV that tells me the delays that airlines take. So what I'm going to do is make a bar chart so that you can tell which is the worst airlines to be with in the last year. This is updated yearly, so this is an up-to-date chart. So you get to find out what airlines you should be flying on real quick here. I have a prompt.txt, and the reason I have a prompt.txt is I didn't want Murphy to jump in, so I wrote my prompt before this, and so you'll get to see, the prompt that I wrote. So I'm going to switch to Visual Studio Code.
Screen sharing meeting. Launch meeting. Airlines.csv. Leaving.
Here's the airline CSV. I'm just going to read the first couple lines for those who can see. You'll see that it's a big CSV file.
1. ID airline flight airport from airport to day of week time length delay. 1. Code 269. SFO IA 3 15,000.
So there's a bunch of data. The airlines is listed by 2-digit representations. So I made my prompt fix that. So here's my prompt. I'm going to read it out. I have the screen reader read it out loud.
List box. I have a dataset with the file name. I have a dataset with the file name of airlines.csv and the column names as follows. ID airline flight airport from airport to day of week time length delay. Create code using Python Seaborn and Pandas to create a bar chart to show total delays for each airline. Go out online and find the full name of the airlines for the X labels. Make a Y label delays per airline. Create code using Python Seaborn and Pandas.
Oh, it starts reading again because it's a problem with JAWS. So there you go. I have made a prompt, so I'm going to copy that.
I have a dataset with.
I'm going to close that file so it's out of the way.
Studio Code dialog. Escape. Circle bullet prompt.txt dash. Control double. Don't say enter.
Okay.
Circle bullet prompt.
I now have just the CSV file open. I'm going to ask Copilot to create this.
Control Shift I. Enter.
You'll hear it thinking here for a second. Hopefully.
Blank. 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 Blank.
Oops, it didn't work.
Control Shift I. Escape. Screen sharing, task switching, airlines.csv.
Sorry,
Control Shift I.
something
Control
is
Shift
not
I.
working. Great.
Attach context left, chat input, escape. Screen sharing meeting control, airlines.csv, alt
I'm gonna
F4,
close
PowerShell 7
and
left,
start
enter, PSC,
Code.
here, enter.
Okay, there we go.
Visual Studio Code.
Now I'm going to do Control I.
Control Shift I, main region, airlines.csv, editor, blank, info airlines.
Okay, now it's working.
Enter. Blank. ID airline flight airport from airport to day of week. Enter. Escape.
It's not
Control
working.
Shift I. Chat
I might
input,
have to.
type
Oh, there it goes.
Enter.
Come on, baby.
Attach context left parent control.
Okay, it's not going to work. I don't know why it's not working, but I'm going to show you the results of what it did because I had this planned in case something happened.
PowerShell circle bullet airlines.csv.
I do not know why. I did this 10 times, and I'm going to do one more time.
Control Shift I. Chat input. Type to ask questions or type /.
Is the prompt not on the clipboard?
Blank. 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 Blank.
It might not be. I'll
Control
try one
Shift
more.
R. Prompt enter. Main read. I have a data set. Control W. Control Shift I. Chat in. Enter. Chat
There it
request
goes.
sent.
Okay, we're finally working.
Progress.
It's clicking away. It'll take a few seconds.
Now, the cool thing about this is that you're generating code that
Progress.
any student
Progress.
would do,
Airline
right?
vendor-
In other
Yeah,
words,
I
this is
did-
just
I did-
standard.
Python script to
I'm not
read
writing
Pandas,
anything. It's
Python.
running it. Yes.
using Pan.
So here I'm going to show you. This is standard what a sighted person would write and how the image would come out.
List box. Airlines underline analysis.py unsafe.
So here's the image pi.
Import blank. Number load the dataset. DF equals P.
I'm not going to read through it all because I don't want to bore you to death, but what it's going to do is everything I asked it to do.
Blank.
And down at the bottom, it says
ELT.show left.
It shows the plot. So I'm going to, since I have a couple, let's see, make sure.
414 P.
Yeah, I'm going to show the
Control S.
non-accessible one.
Task switching. Screen launch meet airlines underline
Oops.
analysis.py.
Okay. I'll do Control
Control
C.
Shift C. C colon back.
Now, if you look,
LS
this
dash.
has a pi file now.
N. Enter. Airlines underline analysis.py. Airlines.csv. Alt Alt A.
Okay, so now I'm going to run it.
Python.
Error.
R.
Tab.
Backslash airlines underline analysis.py. Enter.
Okay, now here's the thing. Even though this isn't accessible, I'm going to show you what JAWS the screen reader can do, just so you know I'm not lying if you're blind, that there is a image here. Well, if it shows up.
C colon task switching. Figure 1.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there it is.
So there's a figure on the
Alt.
screen, but as a blind person, look,
X.
it doesn't say anything. I'm arrowing around. It doesn't do anything. So I'm going to show you what JAWS will do to it.
Space. Picture P. Picture
And
smarter
again,
than
this is
progress.
an AI. It's going to tell me what's on the image. So if I got this
The
image,
is a
I
bar
guess
chart comparing the performance of several airlines. The airlines listed are Alaska Airlines, American Airlines, Delta Airlines, Frontier.
And it goes on, right? So it gives you a lot of information. But see, a lot of times your AI on your screen reader can't tell you good information. This can, because this is a simple graph. But if it was like more difficult and you're trying to get information, the JAWS wouldn't know all the information, so it could just make guesses. But with this Mater library, which is called Multiple Accessible Interactive Data Representation Library, which is what I'm about to show you, then I can quickly, as a teacher / professor, make this accessible to students. So here's how it would work. I'm going to close this
Alt
out.
F4, figure 1, Alt F4,
and I'm going to go back to the code.
Task switching, airlines, underline, airlines.
Okay, now this is just
Import
basic
pandas.
regular code that everybody would write to make a bar chart using Seaborn and Pandas. It's just normal stuff they use in class.
Import blank.
But I'm going to add 3 lines and 1 variable. So here we go. Import. Mater. That's the library.
Enter.
And Mater works with Python, R, and it's also a REST library on HTML, so people can make all kinds of bindings. So I just added 1 line. Now I'm going to go down to where it shows the... Okay, right here is where it's going to create the bar chart, but so we need to save it into a variable. I'll just call it bar underline plot equals.
Space,
so I've changed the line to
bar underline plot equals sns.bar.
Okay, so that's one change I had to make after the import.
Blank, plt blank, home.
Now I have to use Mater. Mater
period.
Show
W left parent underline plot left.
And the AI picked it up, so I just tabbed.
Enter. Mater.show left parent. Space blank space left parent left parent plot colon any hint airline underline delays dot png bar under plot enter Mater.show left parent bar underline plot right parent.
So now I've got Mater.show, so it's going to show an accessible version.
Enter.
And then I also want to save this so I can send it to Jeff, and he doesn't have Python on his machine. So we'll say Mater
warn M.
Whoops, Mater dot
error.
Save underline HTML
left parent plot colon any hint bar underline plot airline under. Enter.
And I let the AI fill it in. So here's what it says.
Mater.save underline HTML left parent bar underline plot.
Now I'm going to close this, or I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to arrow up and comment out a few lines because I don't need the old unaccessible or the old way it saved the PNG.
Mater.plt.show home number.
I'll comment that one.
Number blank plt.savify home number.
Comment that.
Control S.
Okay, so I'm all done. I just made an accessible plot. Let's see what happens.
So really, Ken, this is all of about 3 to 4 lines of code with a couple of other lines just being commented out.
Yep.
/airline underline.
And so anybody who teaches a basic data science class to sighted students, they don't have to learn a lot. This uses the basic Seaborn, the Pandas. They can use everything they're normally teaching. But now here's what we get.
Enter. Syntax error enter greater
don't tell me I typed wrong.
Task switching airlines under blank number plt blank number right parent error blank right parent.
I have a right parent at the end. Isn't that beautiful?
Control
okay, so let me go back.
Enter greater
Quit.
Right.
Debugging at its best.
Sorry. Like I said, I've done this 10 times.
Syntax error non-dash Control C airline underline and blank.
Let's look.
Control Shift M. No problems have been detected.
I guess I didn't save.
Control Shift M. Main region. Control S. PowerShells. Control C. Keyboard interrupt. Right enter. Greater. Terminate batch job left. Control C. Caret C. PSC :/data /Arizona University greater Python -I /airline on enter. Syntax error :non-UTF-8 code starting with apostrophe /x89 and file C : Control C keyboard interrupt greater task switching airlines underline analysis.
Okay, I'm gonna just so I don't have to fight with this log. I'm gonna switch folders so you can see the result. What's happening is
greater CD ASU file quote less than greater quote line 1 CD ASU caret enter greater.
Oh, I'm still
right enter greater quit left parent right parent.
Sorry, folks.
ASU enter L dash / terminate batch job control C caret C PS C here and C ASU enter PSC enter PSC :/data /ASU great.
If it would have worked, and the only thing that didn't work, just so you know, I would have to add
from logic to all
every time this showed.
-minute warning.
Thank you. Every time this worked last time, it put the decoding. I have to change the encoding, and that's a normal thing. It's not something that's accessibility problem. So here I'm going to run it now.
Python -I Air / airlines underline analysis.py.
And
Enter.
I'm going to hit enter.
So it's generating the content and it's going to load in a browser.
PowerShell
think it's
tab
not focusing.
switching. Figure 1.
Okay, I didn't comment it out in this one.
Alt F4.
So I'll close
PowerShell
that
7
one.
left
And
parent
now you'll hear it
64
show
right
another
parent.
one.
Major underline plot.h bar.
Now I'm focused into the same plot. If you're sighted,
leaving
you can see
X
that the
frame.
plot looks exactly like the old one. But now if I arrow,
Airline. Airline is Delta Airlines. Total delays is
okay,
2
and if I control left, right, or
Bar
I can
plot of
play the whole thing. You hear that last one sounds like it's pretty high. Let's find out what
Bar-
that is.
Airline is Southwest Airlines. Total delays is 65657.
Holy moly, they got a lot of delays. And
Mhm.
and if you want to find the best, of course, it's going to be the lower tone.
Airline is Hawaiian Airlines. Total delays is 1786.
1786 over the 65,000. So I guess we should fly Hawaiian. I don't know that they fly many places though. So I guess the point is this makes it fully accessible. I didn't do barely any work. And now if I use this, also has AI internal. You can use your OpenAI keys. You can use Gemini. You can pretty much plug in any AI and ask it questions. It'll do the graph in Braille, tactograph, like a Braille representation of the graph. So you can actually have the Braille out if you need. So this works for multi-users, whether it be sonification, text. You have different settings, and that's basically the library. And it's a quick way to make accessible graphics out of graphics that you already use in a basic data science class. There, I'm done. Sorry.
Not a problem.
Took a little longer.
So just in the
PM.
1 or 2 minutes we have left, we are starting at the University of Arizona to work with our Data Science Institute in trying to incorporate Mater into the teaching curriculum as part of the data science core curriculum. And I would just encourage everyone to explore it and talk with, those people who are teaching in data science to really think about ways that they may be able to incorporate Mater in their teaching process and teaching flow.
I should say it's Mater, M-A-I-D-R. It's on GitHub at github.com/x-accessible/Mater. And it is from the X-Accessible Labs of Illinois University. And Dr. Jae Young is the actual creator. And it's a pretty amazing tool. He runs his students through it and they continue to improve it over time. I think we're even going to see graphical tactile displays supported by this. So the more we can use it, the better.
Yep.
Any quick questions or
4:20
Yeah, exactly.
PM.
from the moderator? Is
From
any
me
question?
logic to everyone :session slides
Does not
https
look like we have any questions yet. Oh,
presentation /d/1 code.
It's not a question, but it's wow, I have no questions. I just wanted to say this is great. This is from anonymous
That's great.
attendee. It looks like we do have one additional question here. Can you please provide that link again?
Yeah, for the Mater, I guess, or for
For the GitHub link.
So if you search for Mater, M-A-I-D-R at GitHub, you'll find it, but it's github.com/x-accessible/Mater.git.
Yep.
I hope I'm right. Yeah.
All the source code's up there. You can take a look at it as well as documentation and
it's again multimodal, accessible, interactive data representation. If you're really looking for it, you can't miss it with those words.
No, absolutely not. Thank you so much, everyone. We've appreciated
just
being
one
here.
more question here. Apologies, we do have another minute. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
Blue or gray? Sorry. Yes, I've watched the movie too.
It's very good. Very good.
That's the best question ever.
I love it.
That proves that there are geeks here. I'm just saying.
That's right. We love that.
Logic to everyone :https://
I think that's all the questions we have for today.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Jeff and Ken.
Thanks. You guys have a great day.
You too.
You too.